welcome back to the career build series. This is episode number 105. And so I did a little bit of stuff off screen. I meant it to be an episode, but I had some issues with recording, a little bit of lag in the game because of too many hospital ships spawning. And so I just went ahead here, and what I did last episode was I took the Night Owl from the hospital from the last mission we did in the career build series over to FJ. I then despawned the Night Owl, and I spawned in my new Albatross, my cargo airplane, and I moved 5 jet fuel containers up here to Draymore. So we're back at Draymore, and now we have plenty of jet fuel, so we will be able to operate some jet-powered aircraft from here. So if we go ahead and we take a look at the map, over here at the Captain Aluminum Mines, we have a mission. Ore terminal is on fire, 3000. We've got an emergency call from Captain Safety Officer. One of their terminals has caught fire. Luckily, there are no casualties. So we're going to put the build back in build series, and I'm going to build a module for the Night Owl, most likely. And this is going to be a firefighting module. And so we're probably going to still want to have to land, but this will allow me to go fight some fires. I may try to plummet in so I can do it from the air, but likely what I'm going to do is land and then fight the fire from there. So let's go ahead and start working on that. All right, so what we're going to start with is our pallet base. So if you watched last episode, I went ahead and made this pallet here, actually, this rescue pallet. And so this rescue pallet, let's actually do a little bit of work on this here. So what I'm trying to do is do a bunch of palletization here where we can put these pallets right on, for example, the Night Owl, and then go do some missions. So I want to do a couple more things here, trying to see how to set this up best. Let's do it on the side. Let's see. I'm just counting here to try to see if I want to put some seats on here, so we'll just put a couple seats. I don't need a ton of seats on here, but we'll go ahead and we'll put a couple seats on. So we'll do it like this, and like this, and I'm going to go put some padded seats on here. And so this will give us just a little bit more capacity, and so we'll be able to put people on here. And so we're going to leave that there. Let's go ahead and save this, and let's go ahead and work on the pallet that we are intending to work on for this mission. All right, so what we'll do here is we'll start with my pallet template, and this has the microcontroller in for it. So what I'm going to do here is the pallet lock presently, you have to flip the switch in order to lock the tracks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to a knot. And what that will allow me to do is I can spawn the pallets in the vehicle if I don't want to have to manually load them, and the brakes will already be on. So let's do that. So let's update that, and I'm going to save this as my pallet template. All right, so now that we have a pallet template, I'm actually, for this particular module, I'm actually just going to grab, we'll say the Jet A one. And so this is already set up to be Jet A. I'm just going to switch it out so that this will now be for firefighting. And what I'm going to do now is put in a water spawner. And what we'll do is we'll spawn in some fresh water. Should be able to cut anywhere in here. Right there, fine. Let's just make sure that was good. Yep, that's good. And I'll put in a freshwater spawner. And so this will allow me to take a big tank of water with me. And that will allow me to do some firefighting. So we can take this module in. We'll still have to actually get out and use a hose, but I think this will be kind of a fun way to interact with it. So that is a hose anchor on that side here. Let's see. How do I want to set this up? So we'll make that. Kind of want to do fill and empty in the same. So let's do this. Trying to think. Let's go like this. Let's delete this. Let's delete that. Delete that. We'll just go ahead and put in a block here. Paint it. All right, good. And let's cut in here. And I want a hose anchor. All right, good. And so I'm trying to think the best way to fill this. Let's go ahead and we'll do a T-piece, like so, a pipe, a valve, and so this is going to be kind of a new way to be able to fight fires. I'll be able to bring a big tank of water, not enormous, but a reasonably large tank of water with me and fight some fires. So we'll do a fluid here, port right there. All right, good. So that is now going to allow us to, when this valve is open, it will allow me to pour water in or out, or draw it out of this tank. And then what we'll do is put a pump here. And this way, this will allow us to, let me see. I think what I'll do here is I will extend this like this. This will let me do it multifaceted so that I can use one. We'll go like this. And then I'll go like that. Now I'll put the fluid port. See if I have space. I might have to curve it again. I hope not, but see if we're out of space. Yeah, we're out of space there because of what we just put in there. So let's just move that down. Spawner just needs to be moved down. All right, so this is just going to allow me to, so when the pump is off, the valve is going to open, and that will allow me to push water through. So for example, say I want to fill the system, I can hook to that hose anchor, the water will go in here through the valve, and it will go out the fluid port, and it will dump water into the tank. So I'll be able to fill the tank. And then when I want to actually fight fires, this valve will be closed when the pump is on, and this will be able to draw the water through and actually push it out with pressure. So there we go. So that is now in place. Let's make sure this is set to water, fresh water. There we go. And I'm not going to make this so that you can actually like just suck up water. I could, maybe I'll do that. Let's do that instead. There's no point in doing the valve here, and I could do another pump. This is what we'll do. I could set this up so that it does it both ways, but this is just going to be easier to do two pumps at this point. I used to set it all up with valves, and I think I'm just going to go to doing it with two pumps. They're not all that expensive, and it's a little bit easier to hook up and a lot easier to plumb. So here we go, as you can see now. So this will allow me to stop next to the ocean, put the hose in the ocean. I'm going to have to think about how I would want to do that, though. That's not as easy as set. That's not all that easy to do. But we'll keep it like this, and I can work with it later. All right, good. So that is there. Let's go ahead and we can go ahead and use this space here. I don't think there's anything there. And then we'll take a hose. And so this will come with a hose like so. All right, good. So this will allow me to put it in there, and then I just need a panel to be able to turn on that pump. So let's go ahead. We'll grab a panel. All right. So I'll paint that. And we'll just do a flip switch. This will be pump in. This will be pump out. Flip switch again here. And let's see, what do we want? Let's do a gauge. Oh, that's water level. Water level. Do a gauge. Make it vertical. 0 to whatever this will hold. That'll be 3. And then we really don't need anything here. All right, so that's our panel. I have a bunch of panels in here. This just increases the volume in the tank. And so, of course, any of these can be used for... These are literally doing nothing, so I might as well just add it in here. All right, so first one's going to be composite input panel. This is going to be composite output panel. This is going to be on-off output. This is pump in. And this is going to be pump out. All right, and then I need to be able to read the fluid capacity, so number input, water level. Okay, bingo. All right, water level, pump out, pump in. We're going to want to read composite on-offs for 1 and 2. And these will go pump in, pump out. Hopefully I did that the right way. All right, good. And then we want to read the water level, and I want to write this out. And this will be channel 3. Not, this will be channel 3. There we go. And so that's set up there, and let's hook all that up. So pump out is going to be this one. Pump in is going to be this one. Water level, do I have a fluid meter? I do. So fluid level's right there. We want to go ahead, composite to the panel, and out from the panel, electricity is going to be... How are we going to do electricity on this? I don't think I have electrical port on the Night Owl, so that might be something I add. Because this is going to need electricity. So what I'll do here is I will add a... Let me see where I have a node. I don't want it there. I want it here. Okay, let's do a cable. If I can type, that would be even faster. All right, we'll take a cable anchor here. All right, I'll start painting here. All right, so that'll be my cable anchor there. And so we'll plumb that in. And this will plug to the side of Night Owl. So what we'll be able to do is take this hose, go fight fires. I want it to be simple. It would be cool if I could fill it up from outside, but right now I'd have to make a little utility. I could do that to fill it from the water or fill it from, you know, the ocean or a lake or something. I'm trying to think best way to do that. It's not super hard, but the problem is getting it to sit in the water properly. I could hold it. That could be a thing. But then it becomes cumbersome. So I have to kind of think about how I want to do this. So we'll wait off on that functionality for right now. All right, let's go ahead and we will... This should be full of water. Let's spawn it. And I want to see the capacity so I can index the gauge. Where is it? It's right here is the fluid meter. 2275 liters. Okay, 2275. We'll keep it in liters is fine. As long as I have my units, I know where I'm at. So, make it liters, so 2275. I might want to do that mass, but the issue is in game, the jet fuel and the water weigh the same. The nice thing is often you'll deal with quantities in mass when you're talking airplanes. And this is going on an airplane because, for example, you have max takeoff weight, you have weight and balance that you have to do on an airplane. You have to make sure that the weight is in the right position so that the weight and balance doesn't shift too much. You have an envelope and you can't allow that weight and balance shift out. So we'll save this. So this will be the firefighting palette. Okay, good. So that is set. Let's go ahead and grab Night Owl. I have updated Night Owl. I updated Night Owl off screen, and I think I did it in a live stream as well. So the version that I brought back from the last episode has had some improvements already. And so one thing I want to do is I want to add the functionality, I should add this to all my cargo vehicles, of connecting power to the module. I'm trying to think of the best place to put this. It doesn't really matter all that much. I just don't want it interacting with the doors, so let's just spending all day screwing around with this. Let's make sure symmetry's off. There, okay. Let's do a cable anchor here. All right, cable anchor is there, and that is in. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll plumb electricity in here. So this will only get electricity when the master power is on. So we need to find where that is. So that is likely this. All right, good. So that will power. I'll give us the ability to power this sucker. And I probably want to put a cable somewhere. Could put it right here. Let's do that. And I'll stick a cable right here underneath it. That will allow us to be able to power that pallet as it's in here. So let's go ahead and fix the paint now. That was screwed up. All right, good. So let's go ahead and save this Night Owl. And we have a Night Owl back up there. All right, good. So this is all set. Let's go ahead and load that module in. All right, so here it is, firefighting pallet. So one of the reasons I changed the system so that the brake is default on is for this very reason, is I can spawn this inside. It can be fun at times to kind of load this, but you know, it's just as easy for me to spawn, you know, it's easier for me to spawn it in sometimes if I'm trying to just get moving. So this would be pasted in here like so. Spawn it. I'm going to check it, make sure it's full of water. It should be. These harnesses need to go up here, so let's grab that. All right. Those are in, and I can stow the ramp again. Kind of, it's cramped in here. Like, oh, see this? That should be on. Why is this not working right? All right, let's fix the pallet. See what's up with the pallet. So something is up. The brakes aren't coming on correctly. So firefighting pallet. Let us see. I thought I fixed this. So it should be this one, pallet lock. So if the one is not on, okay, I didn't save the not. I say what? Oh, you know what it was? I did that on the base pallet, but then I used the jet fuel, and I have yet to fix that one. So there we go. Not brakes. So that's all we need to do there. So that is. Let's save this to the firefighting pallet. All right, good. And we'll again launch the Night Owl. So this is nice, you know, like that I can launch these within it and not have to actually manually load it. Manually loading can be fun, but it's also like if I'm trying to do something quickly, I can do this. So the select tool in game is really great. It allows us to do things like this where we can put it in. So we want it to be around the center of gravity. I have a little bit of play with it. We could go like there. You know, ideally you'd want it right in the middle, but it's not the end of the world. We have enough power and balance. We should be fine here. So let's paste this in. And now we should find that that won't slide on us. As you can see, that's sitting locked. So it starts in the locked position now. So the brakes on the gripper are now default locked, where before they were default unlocked. And I had to go in there and lock them. So, you know, it's just as easy that if I want to load it manually, I can always unlock them all. So with the way this is, this vehicle is a little bit more narrow, so I can't get by the sides of that. So we can raise the ramp from outside. Those harnesses are not going to live in there all the time. Those harnesses are going to come out generally, and they'll go in as a module. So climb in, and then we'll be able to... So I'm just testing where everything is. So, and that will power the system. So we're good. We are good to go there. So hopefully everything's connected there, because we're going to have problems if we don't. So battery on, power connect is coming on. APU is on. Fuel valve 1 is on. Start. So fuel, as you can see, we have a beautiful full tanks because I went ahead and took the Albatross and got us some fuel. So that was an important step. So that's one of the big reasons I wanted the Albatross is just for logistics. The ability to move vehicles, the ability to move those fuel containers. 2's up. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and where are we going here? We're going all the way over here to the metal, this is the aluminum terminal rather. So let's go ahead and set that in. I need to change these around. They're backwards for where I want them. So we'll start 2,000 feet and heading is going to be runway heading, which is 220. That's in. Altitude heading. Good. Parking brakes coming off. Let's head out. So I'm really liking the Night Owl. Really enjoying the Albatross as well, so it's a good combination of vehicles we have now going on, and I think we should be able to start to move ahead pretty well here. I'd like to buy a base pretty soon. If you look at our money, we have 357,000. We have about 406 with no vehicle spawned in, so a good bit of money, but again, still not. It's still not an enormous amount of money. To spawn Triton, it costs us. You know, it's going to cost us about 400,000 to spawn it. It's more than that, I think. I think it's about 500,000 to spawn Triton. So, you know, one of the things is to keep you interested in the game often is I think you need to make sure you're not overly wealthy. That gets you to the point where you really have nothing else to do. And so having good money sinks, that's something that you'll see in a lot of games is they have money sinks. And those money sinks are what helps you to have progression. So I kind of build progression in my own save file. Pause break, here's coming up. I like to build in progression to my own save, and one of the ways I do that is by actually making it so that I have some money sinks. Things like Triton that are goals of mine to get to that are also very, very fun to use in game. So let's go nav, GPS, heading hold, and here we go. So 161 or 261 knots. So this is one of my faster vehicles. This goes about as fast as that helicopter I had, and I like this a lot better than the helicopter. That helicopter's cool. I like to finish it at some point, but this is, I think, a much cooler vehicle than that. I'd prefer something like this to a helicopter. So I will go ahead and I will see you guys when we get there. Here we are. So autopilot's coming off. I'm just going to go ahead and press the space bar. That stops us, or it doesn't stop us. It reduces the ducted fans to 0, and as you can see, I can just drop the nose of the aircraft, maintain some speed, and the rotors are still turning to hold us. So let's see, is the mission still here? Mission's still here, so we should see it when we get close. There it is. I can see the fire right there. So beautiful. So landing gear is down, 3 green. So I'm just tipping my nose down, which is kind of accelerating this like a helicopter. One reason I stayed up nice and high was it's a little bit easier. So we want to get close enough with this to put the fire out. So I think this would be a cool new way to do this. I do have a fire module for my mini truck. That's another thing I want to use for some firefighting. So. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut off these modes and turn on AP. All that does is put on the auto hover on the gyro. So all the auto hover on the gyro really does is it tries to smooth everything out. So it's trying to essentially give you 0 pitch, 0 roll, 0 yaw, and it just smooths everything out. So that's all that is doing. All right, here we go. Down all the way, we are, so I'm going to start bringing the power back. Alright, once the power's back, the rotor's not going to be able to keep us in the air. Brake is on. Alright, so let's go ahead and get ready for this mission. Now we'll go to the side door here. If I can get up, there we go. Lower the ramp. These rescue harnesses are not supposed to stay in there. I just was too lazy to delete them out. So those will go in and out when we need them. They're a module as well. So that's part of the modular systems. I have here. Alright, let's go ahead and grab our hose, plug that in. We want to pump out. Let's check it here. There we go, look at that. So that works. Alright, so putting out this fire here. So as you can see, this is going to give us much more reach. You know, like, I'm glad that, you know, at first I was like, oh, I'll just take a fire extinguisher and do this. But as you can see, this one we would unlikely be able to put out with a fire extinguisher. So this adds a little bit of interesting gameplay to do it this way. Curious how close it is to being out. It's going to be close. See if this is even enough to get this to put out. I can't really aim up much higher. So it's up over here. So there we go. Should be reaching that there. Hopefully fire out. If we have problems, I'm going to go back and hover above it, and then we can actually can't really go around that. So that's kind of an issue. There we go. Bingo, got it. So that was a pretty cool mission to be able to do here with the. I thought I shut my engines down. I guess I didn't. So that's why it's so loud. So we used a very tiny percentage. We used less than a quarter of the water to be able to do that. So pretty fuel economical, I would say. Let's see if I can do this without causing problems. Yeah, see, I'm under the ramp. That's a problem. So that's a little problem. We're going to leave this up clipping. Again, IRL, it should be clipping. But this is clipping really badly. Not much I can do about it, unfortunately. I'll just take some of the slack off of it, and I'll just get out from under there. So we'll leave that hanging out. It's not great, but I meant to take that off and forgot. So. But not too bad of a little mission to be able to do here. Let me check, lower the volume down. It's a little bit loud for us. So this was pretty cool. This is a nice, new, interesting way to do it. I want to use that mini truck as well as a way to put out some fires. So if we were over at FJ, I would have driven that. So it's kind of a cool way to do it. You know, I'm liking the modular systems. This is allowing me to stick with one craft, build some modules, and I think that's a lot of fun. They're also interchangeable with my other track-based systems on my aircraft. So pretty cool there. Let's go ahead and see what we have here. That mission is still the tugboat. We already delivered the people. Until that despawns, that's going to be there. We couldn't put out the fire. So let's see. Do we have anything else? Not really. So let's see. Where do we want to go? One thing we could do is we could do a money sink and we could buy this island. This is the island I want to buy. This is pretty cool. So let's go do that. Let's head over here. And we'll do that. So... let's see, what heading are we going? 350, 350, 350, bingo, bango, bongo. Alright, and let's go ahead and put the new coordinates in. Let's go gear up. I know a lot of people have been criticizing the animals lately. My hypothesis would be this. They've been doing a lot of animal ads lately. There is currently no gameplay for animals. If I were to guess, and again, this is a guess, I don't like building up hype or anything, I certainly don't have any insider information on this. My guess would be this. I'm thinking that the devs have something in the future planned for animals. We know that we have another major update coming soonish, and we have a DLC coming, every other DLC's come around October, so that's likely. They've already said they plan on a couple majors for, and you know, the associated miners, for next year in 2024. It would not surprise me if it is going to be something to do with the animals. They've been doing a lot of animals. People have been very disgruntled about the animals. Sometimes rightfully so, sometimes not. I would say there's probably better things to do, but I think if we take, for example, the slurry pumps, the filter changes, the desalinators, all of these things have been to do with, for example, mostly liquid, but I think this has something to do with their longer-term plans on changing some of the ways these things work. The old filter was magic. When oil came out, we had to fraction, so no longer were you filtering by magic, you were actually using fractioning, which is a real process that works with the different densities of the fluids, and so they went to fractioning. They have desalinization filters, essentially, that's filtering out the salt. They're like reverse osmosis filters. And so they made a big paradigm shift where they're changing the way that we interact with liquids. They're also talking about doing a pressurization update where we can pressurize gases. And so it seems like that is kind of the long-term plan. And some of the first steps of these have been many, many, many months before the later steps. And I think what the devs are doing is I think they have a long-term strategy with what they want. I hope. It would make sense. And so I think a lot of these animals we kind of see as useless now. If I were to guess, I would say there's going to be something where we are interacting with the animals in the future. Again, it's just a guess, but it would make sense to me. And so there's two ways that a developer can do this. One, they can keep all this in-house. They could keep all the animals and never let us see them. And if they do that and then release them all at once with their coherent strategy. They haven't done this in the past, and I think it's actually kind of the right way to not hold on to them. I think when you have content to add to the game, whether it's big or small, you release it. And let us use it. Now, at the time, for example, certain things like getting rid of the filter didn't seem to make sense, and then as we started getting more parts, for example, the centrifugal separator, the fractioning tower pieces, it then makes sense why they got rid of the filter. For example, I remember beginner answered a question on, I think, Steam of, why would you guys get rid of the filter? And, the answer was something to do with, it's just magic, it does it all by itself. Well, the main thing was getting rid of the filter. That was because they were putting in fractioning, and we didn't yet at that time know that they were going to a fractioning system. So what they did was they released parts that they knew were coming out, that they knew were going to be part of a bigger system, but we didn't. And so I think to assume that the animals, there's going to be no content related to the animals is just as false as assuming there will be content. So I try not to assume any of these things. I try not to build up hype. It will be revealed to us when it's revealed to us. I know that's not a fun answer, but at the end of the day, I think that it would make sense if they have a more coherent and long-term strategy for animals, and that we are yet to see it, and that hopefully in the future we will see it. And so, for example, they might do something with animal husbandry, they might do something with hunting, they might do something where we have missions to capture animals, rescue animals, things like this. These are all things that potentially could come to the game. Again, could. Who knows? I don't want to build up hype for this. I hate hype. I think it sets false expectations, and it's not really a cool thing to do. But, I think that would probably make sense to me, that we have yet to see the entire full scope of the plan, and we're just seeing tiny little edges of the plan. The devs, for example, I talked about this on a live stream. When they did Industrial Frontier, they had been working on Industrial Frontier for, I think, over a year. And people could see little bits and pieces here and there hidden in the files. All right, so we're going to buy this property. They could see little bits and pieces hidden in the files for a year before Industrial Frontier came out. And so I think the devs have, years planned out of what they want to do. And, of course, we don't know this yet. And so when they finish something, we get to see that little part. But we don't know what the whole is yet. So I think, it's certainly valid people's criticisms that they're working on animals or whatnot instead of X, Y, or Z, but I think they have a longer-term narrative that we just don't know yet. So until we know what their entire narrative is, I don't think we can really speak all that well-informed about what's going on in the game. So I think it's something that's just going to be a wait and see, and that is, that's never, the most comfortable thing, just waiting and seeing. I don't know why I can't get in this workbench here. Oh, probably because my vehicle's on it. But we now own this island. So that's kind of my whole little thing, is I know people have been getting very angry about the animals lately, but I think they have something coherent to do. And, we don't get to know everything that's going on in the game. Sometimes we have to just wait and see. And we're going to have to wait and see what their plan with the animals is. And I think they do probably have a coherent plan of what to do. It takes a lot of dev time. And I think they're just... they're just trying to get their longer-term goals achieved, and we will see what those are eventually, I think. So let's go ahead and we'll take a quick little tour of this island. But that's kind of my thoughts on the latest controversy that's going on with the animals. But, I would certainly rather some other things, but we'll see what happens. This could turn into big gameplay for me. I've been really wanting some sort of animal husbandry and farming. Maybe this is the first steps on it, and I just don't know. So we have this base here. We can build up here on the top, so that'd be kind of cool. Maybe helipad, maybe some other things. This bench I can't interact with because I think my vehicle's on it. So right here, that builds the center of the island. I went into the tunnel. The tunnel, you can use that workbench to build in here, and you can also spawn a ship as large as the Triton. So that's a full-size ship spawn area in there. So this is a pretty cool base. So we have a ship spawn, and we have 3 base locations, so we can build 3 structures. So this is gonna be cool. I wish they would have added it so you could also spawn a helicopter or something. That would be cool. That would allow us to put things away. But so we now own this base. This is one of those money sinks I was talking about. This gives you a reason to earn money. You need a reason to earn money. Just going and grinding for money is kind of there's no point. The point is doing something like buying this island. Cost us 100 grand, and then I want to make this our home base. And so we need to do things like, for example, put on a helipad. I need to, build some structures on here, have a little house, a place we can go and, use the bed and sleep. So this is going to be a little home away from home. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. We have this in our toolbox now, this new base. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun getting back to building some base items and spawning some vehicles from here. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.